Inside a spaceship, Crypto the dog jumps on the bed to wake up his owner Kara, who spent her night drinking and now has a terrible hangover. Today is her birthday and her cousin Clark has sent her a video message, but she turns it off. Then Kara flies her spaceship to another planet and spends the whole day drinking and partying. When she wakes up with another killer hangover, she flies to the nearest yellow sun. As an alien from the planet Krypton, Kara gets her powers from yellow suns, which instantly heal her too. To get drunk, she goes to planets without such suns. Unfortunately, her home planet doesn't exist anymore, so Crypto is her only friend. On planet Halzair, a spaceship lands in front of a house in the middle of nowhere, awakening Ruthie. Her father explains that these guys are brigands, who want his handcrafted weapons forged from the strongest steel. Ruthie comes out of her bedroom to spy on what's happening, but her brother has headphones on and can't hear anything. Brigand leader Kramer enters the kitchen and eats the couple's pie while the father gives him a key for the shed with all his life's work. The mother asks Kramer to take the weapons and leave, but Kramer wants her to guide him to the shed. At that moment, Ruthie's brother jumps out of his room to prank her, so Kramer reacts by throwing his axe, instantly killing the boy. The furious mother grabs a knife and tries to attack, but Kramer easily pushes her back and knocks her out. Then the father presses the emergency button, which sends out a drone that blows up the brigand spaceship. Unfortunately, the explosion also hits the house and sets it on fire. The father tries to attack Kramer too, but he's quickly killed too and the brigands leave. In the morning, Ruthie buries her family and leaves with her father's sword. Later, Kara is drinking at a bar when Ruthie suddenly bursts in, demanding everyone's attention. She wants revenge against Kramer and promises to pay whoever helps her with her father's sword. The brigands have no ship, so they're still in the area. People ignore Ruthie until she mentions her father's name, making them realize that the sword is valuable. An alien tells her that a little girl can't defeat Kramer before a big beast suddenly takes the sword from her, roaring at her before leaving. When Ruthie tries to follow him, the first guy holds her back. After taking another drink, Kara slaps the guy and follows the beast outside. She asks him to give the sword back or at least do the job to earn it, but he doesn't care. Kara jumps on the mount and kicks the beast off before taking the sword, only to be knocked down by the alien. She laughs when she notices she's bleeding because it doesn't happen often. The beast attacks with his mace and Kara is having trouble fighting because she's drunk. Although she lands a few hits with the sword, her enemy keeps bringing her down. Ruthie wants to help, but the first guy doesn't let her, so Crypto bites his arm. Then he runs outside and bites the beast in the groin. When the alien turns to the dog, Kara knocks him out with his own mace. After giving Ruthie the sword, Kara leaves. The next morning, Kara wakes up and discovers she still has a spike in her leg from the fight, so she painfully pulls it out. At that moment, she gets a call from Clark, who is worried about her. He doesn't think living constantly drunk is good and wishes she would live on Earth with him. Kara reminds him she has no people anywhere and hangs up because someone is knocking. Kara then finds Ruthie at her door asking for her help. She ignores her and tries to leave, yet Ruthie continues to follow her. While the women are arguing on a field, the brigands find Kara's spaceship and break in to steal it. A growling Crypto begins running toward them, but Kramer shoots him with a toxin to knock him down. After the brigands leave in the ship, Kara takes Crypto to a healer and Ruthie acts as a translator. This toxin paralyzes the body slowly until it stops the heart, and Crypto can't be moved because it would accelerate the effects. Only the brigands have the antidote, which they use as an interrogation tactic. They exchange relief for money or information. Crypto has 3 days left, so Kara kisses his head and promises to come back with the antidote. When Kara leaves, Ruthie follows her and says they can help each other. However, Kara thinks Ruthie will only get in the way and tells her to stay with Crypto. Then she sits at the bus stop and sets up a timer for 3 days while thinking about their first meeting. Kara was walking in a funeral line when puppy Crypto ran up to her, so she put him in her pocket to avoid chaos. The bus takes off with Kara and a bunch of quirky aliens, but she discovers that Ruthie is also aboard arguing with another passenger. The poor girl ends up on the floor with an alien foot on her head. Kara yells at the creature in its own language until it goes back to its seat and explains to Ruthie that leaving a bag by its feet is an insult for its race. Suddenly the bus is hit by a beam from another spaceship and drones land on its roof. Then some raiders teleport inside the bus. They're pirates looking for tech to steal. A little robot scans the passengers to find anything valuable and the raiders take it from them. Whoever refuses to cooperate gets electrocuted. Kara gives them her watch and tries to convince them not to take Ruthie's sword, but they steal it anyway. Then Kara gives them the finger and reveals she stole a raider's teleportation device. When they try to attack her, she teleports and causes the robot to electrocute a raider. Ruthie steals another passenger's knife and stabs the robot to destroy it. Kara exchanges a few hits with one of the raiders before teleporting, causing two enemies to crash into each other. As the fight continues, Kara and the raiders keep teleporting all over the bus. Eventually a raider drops Kara in a vault, so she asks the driver to take her to the closest yellow sun. Unfortunately, the engine isn't working. A desperate Kara then steals an astronaut suit, but before she can put on the helmet, a raider opens the door and Kara is pushed out into space. The raiders leave the ship while Kara floats around, frost starting to appear on her body. At that moment a yellow sun rises nearby and Kara finally regains her powers. With outstanding speed, She removes all the drones from the bus. The raiders respond by shooting lasers at her, sending her flying towards some debris. Kara simply flies away, so the raiders follow her as they keep shooting their lasers. Once she's close enough to the sun, Kara shoots lasers from her eyes to block the raiders, which quickly overpowers it and destroys the weapon. The raiders activate other beams, however Kara easily dodges them all and proceeds to tear their ship apart with superhuman strength. After getting back their things, Kara pushes the bus all the way to the interplanetary rest stop, where she finally agrees to bring Ruthie with her. Since nobody has intel on the brigands, Kara decides to interrogate the raiders. They're tied to the bus seats and Kara shoots holes next to their heads. Thinking that Kraim will kill Kara for them, the raiders tell her that he's on Bilquis, a planet on the verge of dying from the atomic wars. Half of the population is gone, so people from all over the galaxy usually travel there to scavenge the remaining resources. However, the brigands go to Bilquis to kidnap girls because their race is all male. Next, Kara stops at a shop and buys a special collar for Ruthie, which provides her with a space suit by just pressing a button. Moments later they arrive at Bilquis, which has a yellow sun. The duo walks through a shady neighborhood until they find a bar, where everyone stares at them warily. An alien sits with them and tries to buy Ruthie, but Kara drags her close and asks about the brigands. After a short argument, they agree to settle this by arm wrestling. Kara defeats the guy in a second, so a bigger guy tries next and she breaks his hand. Everyone pulls out their guns and points them at them, so Kara tells Ruthie to sit in a safe spot and gives the locals a chance to leave. Since nobody moves, Kara proceeds to beat them all up. None of their laser beams can hurt her and her speed allows her to move from enemy to enemy in seconds. By the time she's done, all the enemies have left the bar. Kara asks the servers if they know anything about the brigands, but she's interrupted by a mysterious guy at the back. His name is Lobo and he's known for killing off his entire planet. Ignoring Kara's warnings, Ruthie approaches Lobo to ask him to work together. Lobo lifts her and threatens her, so Kara immediately intervenes by pretending they're just two girls on a vacation trip. She annoys Lobo so much that he leaves. Afterward, the servers take Kara and Ruthie to their home, telling them to rest there because they'll bring a friend who will help them with the brigands. While they wait, Ruthie tries to get to know her new friend better, so Kara shares her story. In Krypton, her father and her uncle tried to warn the council that the planet's core was unstable, but nobody listened. On the day the planet finally started to crumble, Kara's parents ran to safety and saw Clark's pod flying out. The locals hid under a force field that raised part of the planet, creating a floating colony before the rest of the world was destroyed. Kara was born 8 years later and spent her whole childhood in the colony having a happy life. Eventually her mother got very sick and they learned that when the colony was separated from the planet it exposed a mineral called kryptonite. It poisoned the soil and was making lots of people sick. Since they couldn't find a cure, Kara's sick father built a pod like Clark's and asked her to leave for Earth. Kara didn't want to abandon her home, but her father convinced her to keep living. When her mother died, Kara and her father organized the funeral, and that was when she met Crypto. Then her dad gave her his watch and sent out the pod with Kara and the dog. In the present, Kara tells Ruthie that grief is a killer. She may get revenge but that won't lead her anywhere. Afterward, Kara goes downstairs to ask for an update, and the couple gives her a drink. They tell her that the brigands took their daughter Sarna and Kara notices her picture as she starts to feel dizzy. It turns out that the couple has given her the brigands toxin hoping they can exchange her for their daughter. Kara isn't paralyzed yet, thanks to her powers, and rushes to the fridge to get some milk, which is supposed to protect her from the poison. Suddenly a vehicle crashes into the house and Kraim comes out. Kara keeps drinking milk as she rushes to hide in the bathroom and tries to force her body to throw up the toxin. She only manages to spit a little bit before Kraim smashes her on the wall. After noticing the antidote on his armor, Kara tries to headbutt him, but his face piercings hurt her. When she's shaken again, Kara steals the antidote before Kraim throws her through the wall. Another brigand then kicks her, causing her to drop the antidote but also to throw up. Now that the toxin is out, she feels better and can quickly beat up the two brigands in the room. Unfortunately, Kraim picks up the antidote before she hears Ruthie scream. Kara bursts through the floor to find a bunch of brigands trying to kidnap Ruthie. She immediately starts beating them up, easily blocking their weapons and using them against them. Ruthie is almost taken away, but Kara throws the weapon at the kidnapper to bring him down and rescue her. There are even more brigands coming up the stairs, so Kara grabs Ruthie and flies out the window. Since the enemies start shooting arrows at her, she has to dodge them and hits a building in the process. Luckily she recovers fast and they manage to land on a roof. At that moment Lobo arrives and starts cutting off the things hanging off the brigand ship. Some debris causes an explosion and Kraim catches a tank that he just throws away before drinking milk. The pod with the kidnapped girls also falls and they take the chance to start running. The brigands try to catch them again, so Kara returns to help. Any brigand trying to take a girl gets punched or laser beamed in seconds. On the roof, Ruthie tries to come down but the door is closed, so she jumps across buildings at the same time that Lobo shoots a rocket, causing a big explosion. Lobo is here to catch a brigand who has a bounty on his head and throws his weapon at the guy. Kara moves fast to take the girl he's carrying before he falls. Then Lobo ties the man to his bike and drives through the other brigands while dragging the guy on the ground. Suddenly a brigand shoots a harpoon with a rope, which throws Lobo off his bike. The battle continues and now Kara and Lobo are beating up brigands together. Kara has the clear advantage with her superpowers, but Lobo isn't doing half bad himself using his weapons. When the wanted brigand tries to escape on Lobo's bike, he stops him by throwing his weapon at him again. Once all the girls are safe, Kara flies up to look for Crane. Meanwhile Sarna manages to run away and Crane follows her, unaware that Ruthie is following them too. Sarna hides under some debris so Crane bends over to find her, leaving his back exposed. Ruthie tries to take the chance to kill him, but she's suddenly tackled by Kara and they fall off the building. When Kara flies back to the roof, everyone is gone. On the street, Crane manages to capture Sarna. Her parents run to help her but Crane quickly kills them both with his blade. Once Sarna is in tears, he kills her too. The brigand ship takes Crane and it disappears into a portal before Kara finds the body. Soon Ruthie arrives too and yells at Kara, saying Sarna is dead because Kara didn't let her kill Crane. An argument ensues as Kara says she'll never let Ruthie kill because it'll haunt her for the rest of her life. Ruthie says that at least she feels something, not like Kara who runs away from her issues and drowns her feelings in alcohol. Overwhelmed with emotions and bad memories, Kara flies to space and lets out a wrenching scream. Afterward Kara returns to the planet, where she pushes and threatens everyone until they agree to take her to the brigands, although she'll have to cover her head. Ruthie sees this from the shadows and follows them. During the flight, Kara uses her X-ray vision to look at her watch. The aliens drop Kara in the middle of a field, where she suddenly starts feeling very sick. It turns out she's been brought to planet Barrington, which is both a green and a yellow sun. The green one is coming out now and Kara soon collapses, but in her dizzy state she can see someone dragging her away. As she passes out, Kara remembers the day her pod landed on Earth and Clark found her. He didn't speak Kryptonian, so at first they couldn't communicate. Clark promised she'd love it there but she got distracted when her powers awakened. A few days later, Kara hated the noise of the city and still couldn't feel at home. In the present, Kara wakes up in a cave and discovers that Ruthie saved her. The girl explains that Crane has dumped Kara's ship and she found her suit, but Kara doesn't want it and only thinks about crypto. Ruthie also apologizes for her attitude earlier and thanks Kara for bringing her along. Then Ruthie goes to the shore to gather water and sees a brigand washing up. Unfortunately someone behind her knocks her out. Moments later Ruthie wakes up in a cell in the brigand ship. She tries to climb the bars to escape, only for her suit to get stuck. Lobo is in the neighboring cell and throws an object to turn off the suit, so Ruthie can come down. He also explains that all the bars have poison. Then Crane enters the cell to offer a deal. If Ruthie tells him where Kara is, he'll let her live. Ruthie responds by spitting on his face, so Crane announces she'll die before the end of the day. Moments later Ruthie is in tears and announces she's ready to talk. A guard enters the cell to put shackles on her wrists, so Ruthie jumps on him and wraps the chain around his neck. She keeps her feet on the bars to avoid the poison and lowers the chains to make the guard hit his head on the wall, knocking him out. Ruthie then takes the guard's keys and frees herself. Lobo compliments her guts and convinces her to free him too by promising to help with the brigands. He takes the corridor to look for his weapons while Ruthie gets in the vents. After crawling for a while she comes out into the weapon storage, but she has to hide when a guard comes in to pee in a bucket. Outside this room, more kidnapped girls are held in a cell. Ruthie grabs her father's sword and climbs back into the vent before the guard can see her. In the cave, Kara remembers the day Clark gave her a suit and the promise she made to her parents to keep living. At that moment the green sun sets and the yellow one comes out, so her body starts to heal. Meanwhile Ruthie climbs to the top of the ship and finds the brigands sparring. She carefully moves toward a switch but Crane sees her and shoots an arrow with a rope to capture her. Then he takes her sword and threatens to kill her, but at that moment Kara appears in the sky wearing her superheroine suit. She shoots her lasers at Crane's hand to disarm him and Ruthie recovers her sword, which she swings to hit the switch. This drops a pod, and the rope drags Ruthie down too. Kara proceeds to punch Crane a few times and almost grabs the antidote, but a brigand brings her down by shooting a claw at her leg. Another guy jumps on the pod to attack Ruthie, who stabs his foot and dodges his blade. He ends up cutting a rope instead, so the pod slides off a bit more. The guy falls to his death and Ruthie hangs on her rope, but the arrow won't last long. Meanwhile Kara removes the claw from her leg and uses it to attack the brigands. She then fights them hand to hand, but she freezes when a kryptonite arrow stabs her shoulder. Her body immediately weakens and Crane hits her with a few more arrows, bringing her down. As the kryptonite spreads through her body a brigand gets ready to execute her, but he's suddenly killed by Lobo. Now Kara can remove the arrows, and she shoots her lasers at Crane when he attacks again. Lobo quickly kills a guard before picking Crane up, ready to kill him too. Kara tries to stop him, but Lobo wants to give Ruthie her revenge so he throws Crane off the ship. However Crane manages to hold on to Ruthie's rope. Afterward Lobo leaves on his bike, so Kara keeps fighting the brigands alone. As Lobo flies away, he throws a bunch of grenades on the ship. The multiple explosions cause severe damage and Kara tries to fly off, but she's still weak and lands on a pod. The brigands surround Kara, who falls inside the pod and fights many enemies at the same time. In the struggle, a switch is pressed and the pod is dropped into the lake. Now Kara has to fight her enemies underwater. At the same time Kramer tries to reach for Ruthie, who quickly rolls away from him. Then he climbs up to hold onto the pod, so Ruthie waits until the ship is close enough to the ground to jump off safely. The ship then crashes into a mountain, but Kramer falls off before he could get hurt. Now the crumbling ship is rolling down the mountain, so Kramer and Ruthie have to run. Underwater, Kara uses her lasers to destroy the pod and flies high in the sky. Thanks to the sun, the last bits of kryptonite disappear from her system. Then she flies fast to rescue Ruthie while Kramer is buried under the falling debris. Unfortunately he survives and sees Kara come back to search for the kidnapped girls inside the ship. The surviving brigands come out on bikes and tanks to surround Ruthie. Kramer comes closer and dares her to kill him. Inside the ship, Kara stops a tank from crushing the cage with the girls, then she opens a hole in the wall with her lasers. While all the girls run away, Kramer tries to attack Ruthie but he's tackled by Kara, who proceeds to beat him up with no mercy. Then she flies through the tanks and throws off the bikes into the resulting explosions. Kara's outstanding speed defends Ruthie from every brigand that comes after her, even using her own body as a shield to protect her from an explosion. The last standing man is shot down by the girls using a cannon from a tank. Now the chaos is over, Ruthie runs to Kramer and gets ready to kill him. However, Kara reminds her that revenge will put her on a dark path she'll never recover from. After some hesitation, Ruthie runs to hug Kara and finally allows herself to have a breakdown over her parents' death. After Ruthie walks away, Kara kills Kramer with 2 stabs, one for Crypto and one for Sarna. She then grabs the antidote and immediately takes it to Crypto, who instantly recovers and jumps on her with affection. Sometime later, Ruthie tells Kara that she'll live with her aunt and she'll start making swords like her dad. Kara says her final goodbye and flies back to Earth with Crypto to surprise Clark with big news: they're finally ready to live there too. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.